Sorry.
Hi guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.
Yeah, what is going on? Come on, Shane.
Sorry, I just really cracked up then. It's really funny.
That's
We'll start again.
No,
Sorry.
leaving that in now. You lost your chance now, Shane. That's it.
Yeah, too late, Shane. You've already messed up.
I'm not a guy that's even a part of this podcast. I'm just a random podcaster.
Tom,
My name is Tom Bruno, and I am joined by the actual Shrewsbury podcast. Hey, Chuckles, you want to quiet down over there? I know that the show is all
Putting you
lighthearted
to
and stuff.
shame. Tom's putting you to shame.
I'm sorry. Hi guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I am your host for today, Shane, the wonderful Hinton, and with me is the beautiful Deedee. Do you want to say hello?
Hi, you doing all right, Shane?
Yeah, I'm not bad.
You getting it all together now?
I'm getting it together now. I've switched it on. I'm back in the zone now. It just completely thrown me off having an American on the show, right?
Careful.
I know. So do you want to introduce our amazing guest, then, Deedee?
Oh yeah. So we've got with us today. We've got Tom. Say hi, Tom. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us about yourself.
I will. My name is Tom Bruno. You can find me when I do amazing podcasts on the You Suck Network. That's USUK, all capitals, where you can find our three amazing shows. That would be What's the Difference, starring me and a guy you might know named Alex Whiteley. We have The Weekly Bazaar with Shane Chebsey, Lucy Orchard, and Alex Whiteley, common denominator. And we have Superhero Bar Fight with Jamie and Tom. I love podcasting dearly, and the reason that I'm here is it's kind of like a celebration, like a show of support for the man that brought me into podcasting. So I might not be a Shrewsbury native, but I feel with all the time that I've spent with Alex that I am a Shrewsbury by heart resident.
You with us in spirit, dude, yeah?
Yeah. So like Tom said, today we're going to be talking a lot to our lovely Alex Whiteley. I think a lot of you hear him all over our podcasts and other ones he does as well. But we never really interview you, do we, Alex?
No,
Go
you
on,
don't.
say something.
I'm sitting here
still
cringing.
there?
I'm like, wow. This is
Bite your lip.
this is so weird, just sitting there listening to myself being introduced on my own show. But I really do appreciate this. Thank you.
So do you want to tell everybody about yourself then, Al? Or?
Hi, my name's Alex Whiteley. I come from Shropshire. I have a great family. I like walks on the beach.
He started.
I like walking and reading. I like to read erotica, and I'm not a big fan of EastEnders. Thank you. I said erotica. Erotica is a nice way of putting that. We're not swearing it, obviously.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. So
Obviously.
if I say something like,
Tom,
I don't know what I can say, so I'm not even going to try to. Let's just
Tom
say
was
that I
like,
have things. I can say. And Shane, by the way, how could you say that you're not used to having American? We did like a show together for like a year. All we did was talk to each other every weekend. So how can you say
that's
so?
true. I'm really sorry, Tom. I'm really sorry. I did it for dramatic effect.
Okay, my bad. I'm pulling away from your dramatic effect.
Sound effects.
I'm good for it, man. Trust me. Just listen to the other shows and you'll be like, why is Tom? Oh, yeah, he says all the silly stuff. That's why he's there.
Well, that's fine, because we're used to Alex suddenly like doing random voice impressions all the time. We're just there going,
No, you're not.
cringy, but no one says
Don't be
anything. So let's
silly.
get on with it.
What are you on about?
Yeah.
So
It's like when Al tries to do Mark Wahlberg.
Oh god!
It's a transformer. It's a transformer.
So I am new to the show. Would you guys like to tell me like about this? What is going on with this? Why Shrewsbury Biscuit? What are you guys all about?
Go on, Shane, your host man.
So, Tom, the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast is a great way of keeping in touch with what's going on in the town. We live in this beautiful town of England that's just a wealth of talent and just beauty in every corner of it. Really, there's
London.
people that look. It's not London, and nothing against London, but it's not London.
It's not London.
But yeah, no, it's what we try to do here is basically we try to get in touch with businesses, local artists, creators, that kind of stuff, and basically just give them a voice and give them a platform and a voice in the town. We've spoken to a lot of people from from people that are starting up charities to the mayor. We've spoken to local celebrities, the likes of you might well know him, Tom, Charlie Adlard, who is a resident of Shrewsbury.
Gotcha. I've heard him in passing. Something
in
really
passing.
amazing, really amazing creator. Does a band
in my kitchen.
Something.
Does the odd thing here and there, you know.
Alex
he did some comic about vampires or something, right?
Oh yeah, something weird like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
He does now. He does now. Recently, he's doing Vampire State Building. Yeah, amazing book. Vampire State Building. It's just been. It's originally French. It's just been translated into English, and you can now get it on Amazon. So make sure Vampire State Building. Check it out. It's good.
All right. So before Alex goes totally off subject, so basically, we're I'd say we're a small town. We're based in the Midlands, and our town thrives on independent businesses dramatically. Yes. So we work a lot with independent businesses to help them. It's a bit like them helping them. It's helping us do what we want to do, by helping them grow their businesses, get the word out. And because especially over the years, we see a lot of shops all closed and everything like that. And we feel like we're doing our part by helping them. And we enjoy doing it. So it doesn't feel like is it? Well, Alex understands.
So you guys are the beacons which shine the light on some lesser known places that would be in your lovely hometown.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's how I always wanted to see the Biscuit, as a beacon, as a place that would get inside the head of someone that's put the time in to make a business. That's like somebody that's.
And speaking of get inside the head of someone who makes things, Alex, you're the mastermind behind not only the Shrewsbury Biscuit but also USUC. You're the master behind a lot of these podcasts. I wouldn't be doing this without Al. So Al, where did it all? By the way, this episode is going to be primarily based around Al. It's going to be a bit of a catch-up session, but mostly we're interviewing Al because I just like watching him squirm.
I'm terrified.
It's really
funny. This is weird for me.
So basically, this is going to be hilarious.
It's going to be brilliant. And the worst thing is they can't see Alex's reactions. Right. We can see him, but they can't see him. So he's just at the moment, just sitting there in the dark room, hiding the tears and the panic.
So awkward right now. It is brilliant. I'm loving it. Tom, are you just loving the way Alex looks right now?
I think he has a very striking silhouette. I think it's very classy. It's much of like Charles Dickens or something like that. You imagine how he would make up.
He's got some class.
Would you see Dickens walking around in a Weekly Bazaar T-shirt?
I mean, if he was a smart gentleman, he would be rocking, but he's dead, so he's not really rocking. So Alex, where did the idea come from to do a show about your hometown?
I mean, we have to go back to like when I began the podcast.
When I were a lad.
When I was a boy. I was
during the war.
I was working on my own. I started loan work, and I went from Asda to a place where I was working. Hundreds of people I'd see them every day, to working on my own in the night, literally in a quiet room when it was quiet. And it was hard for me. It was really, really difficult. Genuinely, I couldn't stand it. Till somebody, Chris Murray, how's it going? I don't know if you're going to listen to this, but Chris Murray, he was like, "Yo, did you know that Kevin Smith does podcasts?" I was like, "What? Get out of here! No way!" And he was like, "I was like, I love Dogma. I love Jay and Silent Bob." And he was like, "Yeah, you should check him out." So he hooked me up with Education was the first show I listened to. Then I went on to Hollywood Babylon and Fat Man on Batman, all those shows. And they literally just filled the air with a voice, just like to have something on in the background. And even if I was busy doing jobs or I was running around doing stuff, like I would just be taking in all this information, even if I wasn't listening. I'd listen to that. I'd listen to The Nerdist when The Nerdist was good. I'd listen to Mark Maron and Joe Rogan. All these voices just in my head. It was brilliant. And what it did for me mentally was so powerful that I wanted to do something to return the favor. I wanted to create something for other people, bring people together, very much so. And so I started Thorskin. Thorskin was a cheeky little podcast we did with my friend James. And we just talk about all the geeky stuff, news, about movies, video games, news stories, crazy stuff, right? James was really selfish and had a baby. So then that's when I brought Bruno on over here. I sent him a microphone from Telford at the time all the way over to Vermont. This little orange ball microphone has had the most amazing journey because it started off here, went over to Vermont, and it's now actually in Florida with the great and powerful Eric Pfluger. Anyway, so I did that. It was great. And I moved to Shrewsbury. And when I got to Shrewsbury, I was just genuinely, like, as an outsider, I always wanted to move to Shrewsbury, but as an outsider, like, walking around and taking the views, I was in awe of what I was seeing. I was so proud to be living there. Genuinely, I've lived in towns where I didn't give 2 tons of beep about them, you know?
Yeah.
I grew up in Wrexham. I didn't really care for the town. I lived in Telford, didn't really care for that place. Shrewsbury, overwhelming love. And I needed to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it, and it was actually when I went on For the Love of Shrewsbury, which is run by the amazing Lorraine Fletcher, who's been on the show. She's brilliant. For the Love of Shrewsbury, if you're listening internationally, is a Facebook page. Definitely go and check it out, where people share their pictures of Shrewsbury. It started off as a photography page, but people just pouring lots of love into this Facebook page, and it inspired me. I was like, if people love this town so much, they will react well to a podcast. Then at first I was kind of like, I'm underqualified. I don't know anything about the town. But then I thought that's the advantage, is I don't know the town very well.
Is that you're looking at it from an outsider's point of view,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah. And I would play the dumb guy. I would play the dumb guy. Let people talk about their amazing talents.
He says play the dumb guy, but you know.
But it's a bit like you've come into this wanting to learn more about the town, like as you would want to anyway. But then also other people who might have been living in the town for years be finding it's like, for instance, like we've had the Darwin Festival, and we've covered a lot of the Darwin Festival, and I've been living here as well all my life, and I had no idea about the Darwin Festival until we all started getting involved with it. And especially like this year, we've been getting involved with a lot more events.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
And I think if you were thinking this time last year when it was leading up to the flower show, and I remember watching you and Shane sitting on a little train, I didn't think you would be. It's like what we've got going on later this year, getting more involved with events. We've got some big things coming up. You probably wouldn't think that the Biscuit would be going in the direction it's going in, especially because of the situation we've just been in. But it's got some massive highs coming up.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can look at a negative situation and try and bring out a positive, I guess. And that's,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, with the Biscuit was something completely different. Me and Tom have been shouting and swearing on microphones for so long. And being completely unfiltered, that I was like, I'm going to really struggle with this, because not swearing on the podcast, like, it's not just about, censoring the show in that regard. I don't want to have someone like the great and powerful Maggie Love, Stan Sedman, Lorraine Fletcher, and drop an F-bomb in front of him, because that'd be really disrespectful, right? So I wrote to BBC Shropshire. I was like, guys, I've got this thing I'm doing. I'm really interested in learning how to produce and direct a show with a formula, with structure. And they let me sit in for a couple of days and watch them produce shows, and it was amazing. It was brilliant. And he taught me how to, write plans for shows, and how to talk to people and really just listen, And I'm obsessed with the active mind. I want to know what makes Charlie Adlard want to draw zombies. What makes an author like Kevin Horak, who we had on the show, Crazy Cat Lady, what makes him want to write these amazing books? What makes someone like Mike from Stop want to open up a coffee shop, and create how did he go from making a coffee shop to these chains that are just so well known? All these things are really interesting to me. But that's how it started. And, I literally went around, printed off some business cards, and I spent like 3 days, 6 hours a day, walking up and down the cop with these business cards. And I'd go into shops and I'd be like, I'm doing the shoes, and trying to not look like a businessman as well. Like I'm trying to sell a vacuum cleaner or something, I'm like, I've got a podcast. I want to talk about Shrewsbury. I want to talk about you. That sign above your door, I want people to walk past it and be like, that's Mike from Stop, or whatever, and be like, I heard about a podcast. He's a good guy. Let's go and have a look. And it worked. The responses I got were varied. Some people were like, yeah, whatever. Some people were like, brilliant. And from that weekend, I managed to line up 6 shows for 6 weeks, and that was the beginning. That was when I did it, and we scheduled shows, and that's where it started.
I think it's really quite smart, to be totally fair, because I mean, we all walk by the shops in our town. You know, you will go for a walk with family, you pass the shop, you're like, oh, I wonder what that place is all about. You see people laughing, having a good time. And I think that when you give them more of a connection, like you guys do when you do the show, like these people get to know kind of intimately who these owners, who these people are that have these lives. So when they go in, they feel like they already know them, kind of. So it takes away some of that tension that might come from just going to some random business. Instead, it's like, oh, that's, give me a name, Mike. That's Mike that owns the coffee shop. I heard you on the show. You're a really funny guy. Oh, I really enjoyed that. Can I get a cup of coffee? And it's all, easy going from there.
I think also really helps that we're such a friendly town as well. Like I would struggle if I said I was popping into town, I'd struggle to pop into town, not see someone I know. And I know that like if I go somewhere, if I go to like Birmingham, which is one of our closest cities, if I go there and say, if I held the door open for someone, you'd be like, are they going to say thank you or not? I know this sounds like a really small thing, but in Shrewsbury, you'd very rarely not get someone to say thank you. It's such a friendly town. Yeah, I think a lot of people move here and notice it. So I don't notice it because, like, me and Shane are here all the time. Shane's not going to say thank you, but he's an odd one. But but we don't notice it, and it's not till we go away from our town that we're like, oh, hold on, it's actually an amazing place where we live. It's got such a good community, and with all the at the start of this year, with flooding and stuff like that, and people pulling together, I think it is. There
is a very strong sense of community in Shrewsbury. It's very, very, very prominent. And like you said, it's when things like the floods happening or any other big thing that happens in Shrewsbury, you usually find that a lot of people pull together to help. And that's not just on a wide basis where something happens to the whole town. It can even be right down to like somebody's parent has unfortunately got very ill, or like somebody's house has caught fire, so like there's everyone's passing the hat round to fundraise to help them out, and like this isn't just a few people in the local community, the neighbours and that just chuck a few quid in a pot. You're talking thousands of pounds raised for these people, and that comes from the people of Shrewsbury, and sometimes it is further afield as well, but mostly a lot of these things are bred from the people of Shrewsbury, and that's why I personally love the town so much. I've lived in Shrewsbury my entire life.
We saw that with Zach, little Zach. Remember that? the young boy that needed treatment.
And he was in Telford, wasn't he? Yeah.
That was in Telford. It did start in Telford, but it went worldwide, and that's a Shropshire thing, isn't it? That.
It is. Yeah.
And we were speaking to Jess from Vanitas Tattoos, and she gave up her trade, all her appointments at her tattoo store. For people to donate so she could tattoo little love hearts, little red hearts for Zach. And she said the queue was around the corner. The queue was around the corner from a tattoo store, and we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't have taken the time out to speak to Jess.
She did hundreds though, didn't she?
She did hundreds of these little tattoos and donated all that money to Zach. And, that's the Shrewsbury spirit. And she's from Italy. Rubs off on her. There's something in the water.
So your first day in town, like you moved there, why'd you move to Shrewsbury to begin with?
It was more to do with the schools, really. And it sounds that if you're from Shrewsbury, you're probably like, what? But I've lived in a couple of different places, and I heard really good things about the schools here. Like, it's a nice place as well. It's a place to be proud of. And it's not to say that, I didn't feel that. When I think about Telford, I think of Ironbridge. I think of the Wrekin and these little hotspots. But as a town, I don't know, I just didn't feel it. There's nothing against Telford. It really is not, because there are people out there that are really proud of the place. But Shrewsbury, for me, is just a place that, Tom, when you come over here, you're going to be gobsmacked, because it's just beautiful, like, to walk around and look around. And I wanted Timmy to live somewhere where he was proud, because I never had it,
So you go into this town for, the schooling system. You feel that it's going to be better place to raise a family. What was the first thing that you saw in Shrewsbury that won your heart, that you're like, this is me. This is the place that I gotta be?
That's easy. And that's Greyfriars Bridge. It sounds daft, but I was walking through Coleham, and as you come out of Coleham, there's a little iron footbridge that goes over the Severn, and it takes you in front of Stop Cafe up into Shrewsbury. And I remember walking over that bridge for the first time and just being like, "This is outside my house. This is like right in front of me. Like, this is amazing. And that feeling, I think I stood and I took a million pictures of Timmy looking through because it's like little diamond iron bits that you can look through and stuff. And I got pictures of Timmy looking through, and that moment now, my heart was set. You know, I'm never leaving this town.
What's your proudest thing that you've done with the podcast to help the town? What's your proudest moment?
To help the town. The first time I heard someone had gone to an event because they heard it on the Biscuit, and that was the Christmas.
That was
Christmas fair.
Was the Christmas? Oh yes, at the prison, wasn't it? Yeah,
Christmas fair at the prison, and it was Lauren. I think it was got in touch with us. I think she got in touch with you, didn't she? And said that some lady turned. We mentioned the Christmas fair. We was like, okay, we'll give you a shout out. And this lady turned up at the prison. Was like, I didn't know this was going on. I heard it on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I was like, bam, there you go. The show works. It works.
Yeah.
And that for me was so special. And also as well, the first episode we did, I was doing this really light-hearted, positive show because I know there are bad things that happen in Shrewsbury. I know there's bad things that happen in every town, but I ain't going to talk about that. People don't want to hear about that. Let's talk about the positive things, right? But like the first show we did was with Simon Bell talking about the Holocaust, genocide.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, how is this going to go down? I had no idea, but it's still today the most listened to episode ever on the Biscuit.
You say you talk about the how it felt when someone said that they went to an event based on your guys' show. Now, tell me about the feeling when you first came upon someone that recognized you and they asked to be on your show, on these shows.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm trying to remember who asked me to come on the show.
You don't have to say names, of course. You can just tell us about the feeling of of the show getting some recognition. Of course, that also means Shrewsbury.
The recognition is easy. I mean, like me and Shane had this amazing weekend or this day. I mean, the weekend as a whole was kind of mixed because we covered the flower show, and the first day I went was torrential rain, and I wore my favorite shorts, those brown ones that I wear, a tropical shirt, and I carried all my equipment in my bag. And the torrential rain was bad. But the second day, Shane met me at mine early in the morning. We went to the shop to grab a couple of cans of Monsters and walk into the show. But on the way to the shop, somebody cycled past me and Shane. He cycled past us and he literally shouted, "Yo! I love your show. It's brilliant," and pointed at us. And Shane was like gleaming from this big smile. He was like, "Whoa!" And that didn't stop all weekend.
Yeah, that woman grabbed me, didn't she? She grabbed me by the arm and she just spun me around, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" And she just goes, "Oh, I know you are. You're one of the Biscuit guys." She was just like, "I listened to your show. It's awesome." I was like, "Yeah, cool, thank you." And we were doing a live at the time, if you remember. Yeah. And we were just like, "Oh, we just got recognised! Oh my god!" Like, it's amazing. So I mean, just on a side note, if anybody does see us out and about, absolutely shout at us. Just wave or anything. We love it. Absolutely love it.
How deflating it would have been if all of a sudden she's like, "You're Alex, right?" And you're like, no,
No.
I'm the other one. She just like, "Oh," and she walks away. Alex?
I have
Where
been,
are you, Alex?
I have been called Shane on Facebook Messenger when someone's got in touch and been like, "Hey, can you give us a shout out?" And I've gone, yeah, and they've gone, "Thanks, Shane." And I've been like, okay, I'll give him that one. And as well, early on, I got Phil Gillam, the mayor. He wasn't the mayor at the time. He's the mayor now. Phil Gillam has worked at the Shrewsbury Chronicle and the Shropshire Star for decades. He's one of the main press advocates in town, and he's got his own magazine. He put us in a magazine, the Bellevue magazine, which was so nice to have a picture in it. Even if it's a local rag, it was just really nice. And he invited me for coffee, so we went for coffee. And we were having this really frank conversation about the Simon Bell episode, and I was kind of like, "Oh my god, he's going to tell me that was a really harsh tone to start on." And he's like, "There was a moment when you were talking to Simon Bell, and he was talking about something really upsetting, and Alex, you paused, you took a breath, and then you carried on." And he said to me, "That's the most real thing I've heard on a podcast in a long time," because you could tell, you could feel the emotion in me. but I carried on with the conversation, and that was really nice. That somebody actually like didn't just throw it on while they were doing the hoovering. Somebody actually like really listened. You know, they were listening to the ambience, and that was just. And from that moment on, should I say, Phil Gillam, even as the mayor, has been one of our biggest supporters of the show.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I see him out and about with his chains, or he's at an event, and I'll make the same joke. I'll go up to him and be like, word for the biscuit, and he'd be like, oh, hi, Alex. And great conversation every time. It was amazing. Even playing Monopoly was just so fun. It was brilliant. Yeah.
Now, you've been doing it for a couple of years now. When you look back, what's some of the things that not make you most proud, but what are some of the things that you're like, man, I'm really glad that I got to that in time, or I'm really glad that we got to, promote this because otherwise they never would have gotten a voice?
There are a couple of things. Obviously, going back to what you're saying about proudest thing, I just reminded myself really is the Monopoly thing. We're on a Monopoly board, guys. The Shrewsbury Biscuit is now officially part of the Hasbro universe. Bruno here gives me crap about it all the time. He's always like, "Oh,
why? It's a good thing.
Don't start talking about Monopoly. Don't start."
It's a terrific thing. And first of all, it's jealousy. I'm not on a Monopoly board. Nobody ever once thought to put any of my ideas on a Monopoly board. But two, I have to knock Alex down just a smidgen because he's such a good dude. He's so thoughtful. Like even in his busiest times, Alex always takes time out of his week to double check with me and make sure how I'm doing, even if it's just to be like, hey man, are you all right? So I have to take the out of him just a tiny bit. Okay, is that? Yeah, okay, cool. See, that's the problem is like when you guys say certain things, part of our show on the You Suck Network, What's the Difference, is because through Alex and mine's partnership, there's been lots of sayings, back and forth that we didn't completely understand, and there's some things get lost in translation. So some of the words that you guys use, I have to really think about what I'm saying, because I'm like, well, is that a swear to them, or is that just something like when you call the newspaper a rag? I would hear that and be like, oh, that's an insult to a paper. But that's just an old-timey phrase for, a newspaper. I got to remember these parlances that I'm, not really quite familiar with.
I can actually genuinely remember a conversation on Thorskin where Tom actually revealed, and Garrett actually, who is another one of the co-hosts at the time, they both revealed that a lot of the time, especially when me and Alex get excited, they have no idea what we're saying, which I found mind-blowing and also hilariously funny.
Which is very interesting because now, like, I have all sorts of British idioms that make it into my everyday speech. Like, we've had this conversation on the other podcast before. Alex has influenced me tremendous amounts, and we're always making fun of our kids because Timmy watches YouTube, and Tom and Deacon and Illy, they all watch YouTube, and there's a switch. Like, you can get the rights to American broadcasting over in England and vice versa. So we'll get like Peppa Pig and they'll talk just the way they're supposed to. But some of the British words, or idioms, I'm gonna use that word again, don't really they get used, like trolley instead of what we would call a shopping cart, or the boot, or things like that. So Timmy will speak American to his dad, and my kids will speak British to me. And it's just so funny because I just support it. Because I'm like, well, I talk to Alex all the time, and I always talk British. So I mean, what's the difference?
I've been in a store before, and Timmy's like, "Can we get some candy?" And I'm like, "No, you're not having candy.
Out of here.
Some sweets.
Go to your room until you speak British."
So Alex, like, you obviously began this podcast, and you started off with like the 6 episodes. And that's what made it grow. Obviously at some point, you obviously then decided to bring people in, i.e. me, because I know that I was one of the first people you then come to saying, dude, I need some help. I'm not even joking. That's literally how it went. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
So obviously, apart from me, because I'm just amazing, and that's why you want me on the podcast, obviously. How does that process go in your mind? So, like, when you decide that, right, I need some help, who am I going to go for, and how does that sort of play out in your mind?
So how do I choose to be on the biscuit and who not, basically?
I want to see what he's got to say about this one. I'm very interested in this.
What is the rigorous trials and tribulations that go through your head, Alex, when picking someone to invite onto this, show that you created with your mind?
There is a right and a wrong answer to this one, Al.
Yeah, be very careful.
Well,
be honest, man. Be honest.
It's of course you need to. retrieve the tail feathers of a peregrine falcon. A rare peregrine falcon that lives only on the top of Ben Nevis. That's the only way you can get on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I'm joking. No, the reason why I came to you, Shane, is because I cared about the show a lot, and it was becoming a lot of volume. There was a lot. I wanted to get away from staring at my clock in my kitchen and monologuing. But I mean, that didn't come for a while. Actually, I brought you in because I needed a co-host to speak to. I needed someone to speak to, because it was hard work. And I'd worked with you at the prison. You were doing bits for me on Thorskin, so I knew you. I knew that you'd be a good gamble. It wasn't even a gamble. I was just like, it'd be great. Julie, I brought on because that was when I was kind of like, we need a talk show. We need to like turn it into like a 3-way kind of conversation rather than. I mean, it's great just me speaking to the guest, and sometimes I'd still do that, and they're great. But to add a bit of volume to the content, it was really good to add that. It was really good. So Julie was great because we worked together at the prison as well, and she was of a different demographic. You know, she was a bit older, she's a bit more experienced, and she always pokes fun at me for saying that. But that's she's from a different generation, and I love that. I love that she has a different outlook to life. And Deedee. We had to be really cautious. I wanted to make sure we got the right person. So I asked to speak to Deedee, and I
eggshells.
So Deedee came to see us in the studio. We had a chat, and I was like, okay, we're gonna hit record, and we'll just do a little bit and see how you get on. And she was straight off the bat, bam, she was perfect. And I was like, wow, first time. That's lucky, you know.
To be fair, I can remember when you first.
I remember this
Deedee.
as well. Yeah, I got so much rubbish off Shane.
Yeah.
What did I do?
I was like, soon as it was like the first thing you said, it was like, "Oh, Al, what have you done? You brought a Tory in or something like that, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
Who is this interloper you brought to our show, Alex?
Exactly.
A female
That's exactly
on top of it.
No, I genuinely can remember. I remember Al messaging me. I can't remember if it was over a video call or if it's messenger. I don't know. We had a conversation in some capacity. I can remember him coming to me and saying, "I know we've got Julie on board." He said, "How do you feel about somebody else?" And I was like, "Who you got in mind?" And he said, "Oh, this girl Deedee." He said she's actually been messaging before because she's really, really keen to get on board with the show. And I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, like, I was like, who is she? Who's talking about? And you know, he sounded really positive about it. And I was like, well, yeah, man, it's your show. Like, you do what you want. You're the boss. Like, you know, and that's what he did. He made that decision. And to be fair, I mean, like, you know, as much as I like taking the mickey out of you, Dee, you know, it's, I think the four of us have got we've got a lot of pros and cons. You know,
it's 5 of us now, man.
I think the group of us together, we've got a good, because some of us are so different, we've got a really good variety of people. So when we do have guests in, it's quite easy for us to find one of us who can relate to them.
Yes, yeah, we've got between us, we've got a very one of us can sort of relate. In some capacity.
And, you know, Dee fitting in he's a completely different person as well, you know, and I like that because you've got a different outlook to life as us, you know. And then
I think mainly because the type of town we live in, it's like Shane's been here. Shane's like me. He's been here all his life. You and Jules have come from the outside, coming into it, and from an outsider's point of view, now living here and wanting to learn more about the town. But then, even though me and Shane have been here, me and Shane have lived quite opposite ends of the spectrum growing up here. It's like Shane is someone who's very normal, very down to earth, and I'm from a background that some people would probably look at and then walk away. It's like I went to boarding school, so I went to one of the local boarding schools, and one of those stereotypical, like, was it the Shrewsbury girl privileged lifestyles? But even though I wouldn't call myself that.
Yeah, I got from the council estate.
Exactly, but it's getting the town from loads of different perspectives.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's important. I think it is important to see things from, because you know it is down.
I can't help I was born better, Shane. It's not my fault. Joking.
And then we brought on Max. Max was. We did shared biscuits, right? We did share biscuits with Jay McKenzie, and we did that interview, and he had such a natural just during that interview, he was so natural to talk and just to be really relaxed and slowly meander his way through conversations. I mean, I really listen to people when I talk to them. And
Max has got a very interesting way of talking. I think you hit the nail on the head. Actually, he's got a bit of a rhythm to him, and he's quite he's very mellow in the way he talks. And I think that he's an ideal counter for me, put it that way, because I'm quite the opposite. So, like, he's very mellow, and he has a natural rhythm to him. And he is just a genuinely nice lad as well. So I think that comes through on his audio.
A confession time on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I originally brought Max in to help me out with Twitter and social media. I put a post out, I need help. Max was the first one to get in touch and be like, yeah, I can do this. And I spoke to him when we started talking, and I was like, I need to get this guy on a podcast. He's brilliant. He's really good. And I did. And bam. Here's Max.
And he's done some really good stuff for the town independently anyway.
Yeah. Tom, right? This guy gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He lives near enough in town, and we've got this huge park called the Quarry, and he goes out with a litter picker, and every morning clears up all the kids' rubbish that they leave all over the floor and stuff. I mean, he doesn't have to do it, but he takes great pride in doing that every single day. He fills up bags full of rubbish, honestly.
That's very ageist of you. How do you know it's not Shane's rubbish that he's just going to the park and just spreading around and like you're blaming all the kids?
It probably is.
Yeah, I am council housed. Was council housed. So I suppose it comes to the stereotype, I guess, doesn't it?
And that's the team, and I love that I put these people together. I love that we went to Hickory's at the weekend, and we get on really well, and we have this chemistry, and I put that together, and I need to take more credit for that because I don't like doing that. But I put this thing together, and I should be proud. Did you say you got one more question, Tom?
I do. I have to go spend time with my family at work today, so I'm very sorry that I'm just kind of here and gone. First of all, thank you guys very much for the privilege of coming on to your hometown show and talking with you guys. It's a lovely place. I've seen pictures. I've seen the atmosphere. I've heard the people. I know you guys for the most part, so it must be a real magical place to be if it really inspires so much passion from all of you. My last question for you, Alex, for the day, not forever, for the day is...
This is last on forever, Alex. You're never going to speak. I'm never going to speak to you ever again.
Bye.
Never. I quit all shows.
I'm leaving you for Donny Gates. That's what I'm doing.
I'm going to Florida to collect the Brotherhood of Traveling Mike, and I'm sending it back to you. One of the things, side note, speaking of which, one of the things that I hold dear, if you guys can see behind me in my office, I collect things. I have artwork from friends. I have movie posters. The thing that has been in front of my computer, any device that I've used to do the show, is a note, and I got it from Alex with the microphone, and it's so simple, but I love it with all my heart. I'm going to read it for you guys. It says, "To Tom, welcome to the team. Here's to the future." And that really brings up the next great question, the last great question for me. You've seen where the show started. You heard where the show started. You heard where the show is. Where do you see the show in the future?
You're going to make him cry. Look at this. You're going to make him cry.
God, that's
the passion.
Really touched me. I'm sorry, I dropped. That was really sweet. I didn't realize you had that in front of your thing. That's really nice.
If it wasn't such a trial to turn my computer around to prove it to you, I mean, here.
No, it's fine.
Oh, he's getting it.
It's right there.
Oh, look at that.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's really touched me, man. That's really touched me. Where do I see the biscuit going? From what I see from the figures, we're about to break our record again for downloads, and this is a common happens all the time. We are getting more and more emails to attend events, to cover things. I see us in a few years becoming, playing a major role in everything that goes on in Shrewsbury. I wanted us to be a beacon of information, and I wanted us to be one of the main providers of what makes this town great. So that's what I see.
A bit like an asset.
Yeah, that's a good word of an asset. I want to contribute, and that's what I see the biscuit doing, and contributing in a huge way. I do see us having our own studio soon. I do see us making a bit of money for upkeep of said studio, and I see us working with the town continuously. It's an endless hole of pure talent, and you know. So yeah, thank you for that, Tom. That was really good.
No problem. Once again, thank you guys very much for having me on the show. I look forward to in the future being able to, you know, come back and have you guys brag about your town some more, make me feel bad about where I live. Jesus.
Well, the good thing is about Shrewsbury, Tom, is you don't get attacked by bears here, so there is that.
What's fighting a bear if you really want to go out and get some mail? Come on now.
Look, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, and like it's been time, man. It's been time. We need to sit down more often because I miss you, dude. I miss you.
I miss you as well, my friend. I hope that, you know, you're an extremely busy dude, you know, a very, very young, beautiful family. And I completely understand why you had to take a step back and, you know, pursue this because it's very, very valuable thing to do, and especially good for the soul. But eventually, man, you got to come back on What's the Difference, and you got to come yell and swear a little bit and have some freaky deaky times with us.
Yeah, and I'll try and keep my laugh down to a low rumble.
We've got to run Shane through the gauntlet. That'd be hilarious.
Well, bleep me.
I always remember a time where Shane was like, was it with Thorskin? I can't remember if it was Thorskin or the Biscuit. He was like, I need to host. I want to host one. So I was like, okay, go on then. And he was like, I
still get a bit like that now. Like, it's really difficult. Like, but people they seem to understand. It's like doing this sometimes is quite hard. Like, it is quite hard, especially when you're not used to it off the bat. Yeah. And that day, you screwed me over because you didn't tell me, Al, that you were going to do that. And literally, you started the podcast, you're like, off you go. And I was like, what? And I was like, I couldn't find my words.
I was like, welcome to my world. Tom, thank you for joining us. You go ahead and spend some time with your...
Oi. Thank you. Tom, thank you for joining us. You go and spend some time with your family, and and yeah, thank you for coming on, dude. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Biscuiteers. I will see you in the future.
Love you, buddy.
See you, Tom.
Love you, man.
Bye.
And then there were three.
Right now, Tom's gone. We're gonna get serious with the questions. You ready? Would you rather have super speed or fly?
Super speed or fly? Fly, absolutely fly.
I thought everyone's going to want to know that because you're a big you're a superhero fan, aren't you?
I am.
This is an important question.
I'd rather fly. Less effort. If you go up and round, it's a shorter distance, isn't it? So if you go up and round, you go to whatever country you want. Whereas if you're running as the crow flies, it's a lot more effort. So there you go. If I'm like, yo,
that kind of like leads on to one of Julie's questions that she asked me to ask you.
Okay.
She was like, when you go to things like Comic-Cons or anything like that, do you ever dress up as characters? And when you what characters are you if you do dress up? Or if you could dress up as a character?
It's always been. I'm at two minds with that sort of thing. It's always been on my mind. Like, should I do that? Should I do cosplay? But then I thought, no, because I'm here to do a job, you know? I got a press ticket, so let's be a member of the press. But then I walked into a press conference the one day, and there's a guy just sat there dressed like Jason Todd, who's the Red Hood. He's was one of Batman's Robins. And I was like, wow, we can do that. But no. I take this really seriously. I want to be respected as a journalist, you know?
You're not too much. You're not far. Okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Sorry. It was I forgot to put my phone on charge, and I was using the hotspot on my phone, so it was like, whoa!
What a rookie mistake.
Yeah. So we were talking about I respect. No, I want to be respected as a journalist. So I wouldn't rock up looking like the Stay Puft Man out of Ghostbusters or anything like that. To answer your question.
So who is, because obviously we've had like many guests on the show. You've dealt with a lot of good people from the town, a lot of well-known people. I know you've been trying to pursue some other particular guests, and some haven't got back to you, some have got back to you. Who is your dream guest to have on the Biscuit?
That's easy, and I've tried twice, and I can't seem to get it, and that's Greg Davis. I'd love to get him on. I think he's such a brilliant talent from this town. I mean, I know he's from Wem, that's his problem, right? No, I'm joking. No, I'd love to get him on because I'd love to find out. Just talk like general, like what school did he go to? What pubs did he used to drink in? What did he? I know he was a teacher, but what did he do after school? You know, things like that. I think people would really dig it. So, if any of Greg Davis's friends or family, whatever, are listening and want to, you know, get him on. You know,
send them over our way, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not always about going for the celebrities, because I feel like if you're this is going to sound really cliche and really cheesy, but if your store name is something that people walk past and see every day, you're a local celebrity. People know your business. They see that every day.
Yeah, you are. And there's been a lot of people that I feel that we've spoken to, and then whatever they're doing has dramatically blossomed afterwards. Like, we've always made the joke saying biscuit before BBC, and the amount of people we've had. Like, I've done 2 podcasts with you now where they've come to us just before they're about to go to the BBC, and they've come to us first. So it's like we've got in there just before them. So whatever you're doing now is working.
Yeah,
I have a feeler for these things. If I see something, I'm like, this is interesting. This has got ground. You know, this can really pick up, and that's when I get in touch with people. But yeah, the biscuit before BBC is a silly joke, because of course we respect BBC Shropshire, but
definitely,
they do need to up their game
but
a little
also,
bit.
Yeah, I mean, like Al. I mean, to be fair, the whole sort of bringing it back down again. It's my turn to try and make you cry now. You brought me into the biscuit. Like, to be honest, but into podcasting in general, to be honest. Because you obviously started me off with Thorskin after Whitby prison, and then you sort of dragged me into the biscuit because you thought I'd be better at that. In all fairness, though, what
are you trying to say about the rest of us? What are you trying to say?
No comment.
Put him with the rest of the rejects.
It genuinely did. You grabbed me at this sounds really bad, that, doesn't it? You sort of you found me at a very difficult time. At a very difficult time in my life, and you literally just sort of like, I think we both kind of clashed together at the prison, and you just instantly sort of like, took me under your wing. You taught me about podcasting, and you were patient, and you were there, and you just listened, and we talked, and all these other things. Then you brought me into the biscuit, which then gave me a sense of value, and all this sort of things. And even to this day, I know obviously with having the baby and other things in my life at the moment, I took a step back, which you're really respectful about. And not once have you sort of put pressure on me or anything like that. And it's just the whole podcast thing has sort of given me something to do. It's given me a purpose, given me something to sort of focus on. Even though I've stepped back a little bit, it's something for me to sort of think about. And I'm always sort of, you know what I'm like, my brain's always ticking, and I'm always thinking about stuff. And it's so thank you, man. I suppose that's the point of all that. It's just thanks. It's I'm loving it. I am loving it. And once things calm down my end a little bit, I'll be able to get a bit more involved again and actually properly invest a lot of my time again.
So for anyone who's listening to this who's not local, the prison isn't actually a functioning prison, because I think we've mentioned that quite a lot tonight. We met at the prison. I was like, we did this at the prison. No, it's not a functioning prison anymore. We clashed. No, it's more of like a venue, isn't it, for events and all things like that now. So we work together as actors, and in fact the first conversation between me and Shane was him putting makeup on me.
Yeah, it was.
Genuinely.
Bonding, what a male bonding moment.
I walked into the prison with like a little lost sheep, and he was just like, hello, I've come to make some friends. And literally what it was. And I literally turned around with like no eyeball, and like my face covered in blood. So I was being,
prosthetic brain sticking. It was quite cool.
Brain sticking out of my head. And
actually, do you know what? That's a really important note. And by the way, you're welcome, by the way, bringing you on, because I feel like the way I see it is, okay, I wanted to start Thorskin because of the conversations I used to have with my friends. Okay, me and Matt Harubis, somebody who's the godfather to Timmy, is a really close friend of mine. The conversations that we had would be podcast gold, and I was kind of like, we need to do this. So I set everything up, put all the infrastructure in place. I was like, yes. So are you ready to do this podcast? And he went, no. And I was like, oh my god. So judging, going on sort of the conversations that you and me had, and the chemistry between us, I was like, this would be really good if we get a microphone in front of it. And I could see you going through a hard time. And so I thought this would be a good distraction for you, and it worked. So yeah,
it did work. It did work.
To carry on about the prison, I do want to thank them an awful lot because I didn't know anybody in Shrewsbury. Didn't know anybody. Literally, this was me starting again. So I turned up at the prison to cover what they were doing as part of the Thorskin, as part of the podcast, and they liked what I was doing and asked me if I wanted to stay on as an actor. And I started doing things that I would never normally do. Like, they lined us up. The one day they lined us up in education, and they were like, okay, you need to walk from one side of the room to the other as an animal.
Oh my god, I never forget this.
You've got to be an animal. And I didn't have an animal. And they were like, Alex, go. And I was like, I haven't got anything. And I just started doing a chicken. Like, going for it. Pecking the floor and everything.
Honestly, it was one of the most funniest things I've seen.
Why did you pick a chicken?
Because I thought...
embarrassing one to do.
Because I thought it'd be funny. And it was. Everybody died laughing.
That funny. I completely screwed it up because my animal went out of my head and I had no idea what I was doing. I just walked across the hall just crying with laughter. I just couldn't stop laughing at Al doing this chicken. I mean, he was doing the head and everything. He was going well into it.
It was really funny because I didn't say anything at first. I just started doing this on my head. Like,
yeah. You have to make the noise because otherwise you don't want anyone to mistake you for a pigeon, so you got to make the noises.
He started pecking Mike Corbett.
That's really funny, yeah. So that was them bringing me out my shell, and that was really, really good, and they've done that continuously. They've given me some really out there roles. The Irish chef, I had to do an Irish accent for 4 or 5 hours. It was crazy. I mean, sometimes it would just disappear because it was really hard to do, but I would never normally do something like that. The butcher.
Are you one of those actors where you keep going with the accent even when you don't need to? In between. Kinda,
because when you're a butcher who's got a really bad temper and he's got this real gruff accent, you've got to kind of have that bit of swagger about you before you go in. So you got to kind of get yourself a bit angry. You got to become that person. I like that. It's fun. When I did the audition for that, there were loads of people. There was only 3 voiced roles, I think, that year on the prison park, and loads of people auditioned for that role. But when I auditioned for it, I completely lost myself in the part. I'm not no actor. I'm not no, amazing. I'm no Brad Pitt or anything. But when I was doing it, I completely disappeared from out the room, and they were like, "That's enough." And I was angry, and I was feeling that malicious and horrible. And it took me a second. The room kind of wobbled as I came out of it, and everybody just sat there like white as a ghost. Yeah, that was great. Looking at each other like, what was that? And they liked it. They loved it. So it was great. Yeah. So yeah, that's my point, is just saying thank you to the guys at the prison. You brought me out, Michelle, and it really helped. Really has helped.
So one of the main things that I wanted to ask you, which I think a lot of people who listen to the podcast will be wondering, why the Shrewsbury Biscuit? Like, me being a baker, I can tell you, Shrewsbury Biscuit, it's not a nice. It doesn't taste that good. But what made you think? Why didn't you pick a different name? Why that name?
Okay,
banter, innit?
This is actually.
It's banter, isn't it? End there. That's the end of the answer. Yeah.
Can I just say, actually, there is actually a really complex answer to this, and I've always said that. Oh yeah, I was driving to work one day, and the Shrewsbury Biscuit came into my head, and that was it. But there was actually a really complex answer to this, and that was I went to watch the comedian Ross Noble. He's a Geordie guy with long hair, very random, very clever. I love that guy. Went to see him. We were in Oakengates, and he mentioned, he was like, have you guys been eating Shrewsbury biscuits? And everybody was kind of like, what? Everybody was looking at each other and he's like, oh, this is Telford, isn't it? But didn't you know you had Shrewsbury had a biscuit named after him? And everybody was looking at each other. And he's like, yeah, look it up, Google it. And I was like, and I did. I went home and Googled it. And because I didn't know what the Shrewsbury Biscuit was, and because I was a guy going into Shrewsbury that didn't know much about Shrewsbury, it made sense to me. it just made sense to me. You know.
You need to eat more biscuits, mate. I think that's what the issue is. You need to eat more biscuits.
I'm learning. I am learning about Shrewsbury, as the listeners are. Some of the listeners are the same way I learned about a Shrewsbury biscuit. I didn't know it existed. So it kind of made sense to me that me learning about Shrewsbury was the same as me learning about the Shrewsbury biscuit.
Did you have any other names you were thinking of, or if you changed it now, what would you change it to? Or because the name's always, I think, a point that people always bring up, isn't it? It's one that they always ask, like, why the Shrewsbury Biscuit?
No, the name of the show actually solidified the fact that I needed to do it. Like, I wanted to do a podcast. I didn't have a name. I didn't even have the confidence to do it, to be honest, because I was kind of like, I'm not qualified. I don't know anything about this. I don't know where Mardle is. I know now, but I don't know what that big tower thing is called. What's it called? You know, it's the Lord Hill column. I know that now. You know, so I didn't have any sort of knowledge about the place, so I thought I wasn't qualified. But when I heard when the whole concept of the Shrewsbury Biscuit and kind of learning about the town as I did the biscuit, then that's when I was like, yes, it fits in place. I need to do it. And I've never actually.
So it's a bit like the name came first.
Yeah. The name,
the chicken or the egg.
Actually, I Googled. I went onto Podbean. I went onto Google, and I looked for Shrewsbury. I typed in Shrewsbury in Podbean, which is like a podcast. Actually, a lot of people listen on Podbean. Hi, nothing came up. There's a few church sermons and things like that. Going to Google Shrewsbury podcast, not a lot. So I was kind of like, wow, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now. And then when I came up with a name, I was kind of like, oh, I need to make logos. I need to do this. I need to do that. That was it. That was the spark. It was just really cool.
Because I think the other thing that shows is, like, obviously you being from an outside of the town coming into it, is that you've picked quite a controversial name as well, because it's got the word Shrewsbury in it, or Shrewsbury, or something like that.
I love that. And I love that so much. We Shane gives you grief and you give Shane grief, but that's what makes Shrewsbury special. People are so proud about where they live.
Shrewsbury.
Yeah. Shrewsbury.
It's like, what is, because obviously you know a bit more, like the rest of us, like the history of it. What is your thoughts on the name? Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury, or I think there's a third one that people mention sometimes.
Shrewsbury.
No one's talking to you, Shane.
Shrewsbury. There's Shrewsbury, and Shrewsbury. Well, I've actually learned. I mean, I was speaking to Maggie Love a few weeks ago. She showed me.
Well, Tom said Shrewsbury.
Yeah, well, he's American. He doesn't count.
Yeah, that's quite a fancy one. They got a Shrewsbury in America, don't they? So they've got
loads. There's one in Vermont, where in his state, and I was like, "Yo, dude, can you go to Shrewsbury and put some flyers up for me?" He was like, "It's like a 3-hour drive." I was like, "Okay."
That's like across our whole country.
Yeah. I think whatever you choose to call Shrewsbury, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Be you, just be nice. You know, the name has gone through. It's such a. You know, when you look at the border and the way things have changed, Shrewsbury's a complex town, and there's reasons why it's called different things.
Well,
so there's really
so.
Yeah, there's really no right or wrong answer on that one, isn't it? I think it's all based on the history of it, and there's a lot to it. Yeah,
and you know, it's whatever you call it, just be decent to your people, enjoy your town, and we do see that a lot. You know, with the people we speak to, there is a lot of pride. I mean, like I said, I know there are bad things that happen in this town. I know there are people, you know, that might not be great in this town. That there are things that happen in this town, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the good things. We hear enough bad stuff in the news and social media. Let's just make people happy for 30 minutes to an hour every week.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're here for at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I went quiet. I'm currently just reading through my notes at the moment, see if I've missed anything off that I was going to ask.
I was just about to ask you if there's anything else you wanted to ask me.
No, I think I've got everything. Look at that terrible handwriting. I know they
that's
a lot
beautiful.
Listening can't see it. Oh no,
I have written nothing down. So
very professional there, Shane. Very professional.
Well, actually, that's really interesting. That is interesting because when I first started doing this show, when I first started doing Thorskin Biscuit and stuff, I used to write, Shane will tell you, I used to write loads of notes, and I used to send it to people, and people were like, what is this? It's just like an essay of what we're going to talk about. And if it's someone that has done something like really important, if it's an author or if it's a historian or somebody that's done something amazing, I will make notes and I will look at their source material and I will learn about them. But if it's somebody that's that I want to learn about, and I don't need those keynotes, and I don't need those titles and this, that, and the other, I don't write notes. I'll go in. I used to write like, do the sponsor, do the website, do this. Biscuit Studios.
Bullet points of direction you want the interview to go in. Yeah,
I've been doing it long enough now not to have to do that, and I go in with a blank page because that's what people are doing sometimes when they listen to the show. They go in with a blank page. They want to learn, just like I do.
Yeah, and I think when you sometimes write things down, it comes across a bit robotic. If you're a bit more relaxed, the conversation, let it flow. It's way more, Yeah,
I agree.
Unless you're Shane and you just forget that you're the host.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
just a piece of paper saying host on it.
That's staying in, by the way. I'm not editing that out. That's brilliant. Brilliant. I love it.
I genuinely, I was like, who's starting? We didn't actually clarify that.
We clarified it before you came on. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That'll be it. One more point I wanted to sort of bring up was obviously what people obviously enjoy our content. As you said before, our downloads are breaking records time after time, month after month, and it's doing really, really well. But what people don't see is the stuff behind the scenes. What they don't see is the conversations we have on group chat, the conference calls that we have, the planning. I'm personally quite fortunate throughout all of this. I've had to do very little planning, apart from basically I'll just tell you when and where I've got to turn up, and I just do that. But most of the legwork and the back work definitely come from Al. And
yes, it does.
Not only does he sit there for hours editing, which is hard in itself, he's also emailing, he's scheduling, he's rallying around us a lot, trying to work out who's coming where. When we go to events, he makes sure we've all got press tickets and stuff. He is not only the mastermind behind it, but he's also the labourer and stuff. And it sounds really, just as I'm saying it now, I feel really guilty now because we do very little.
But that's mainly down to.
But he's also got a full-time job as well that he does it alongside, and a family and all that.
Yeah, I think one thing that makes, obviously, feel free to correct me, Al, but like one of the things that does make it a little bit easier for him is the fact that he does work nights, so he does have his days a bit more free as opposed to like myself, who's working in the day. So like, but nevertheless, he's still. He does a night shift, goes home, a couple hours sleep, and he's back out again, and he's doing the podcast stuff, So he is absolutely grinding all the time. And again, we wouldn't be sat here doing this if it wasn't for Al.
No.
And the irony of it is that he's going to have to go and edit his own interview.
He's pulling technical bits out. See, that's another thing you should have done, Al. You should let Shane edit as well.
This is the thing that translates. It struggles to translate over both the Biscuit and USUC is that I could delegate people to edit. I did once with Tom Bruno. I listened to his edit. I didn't like it, so I re-edited it. And that's the reason why I edit is because it has nothing to do with Tom Bruno. It's because I'm very particular. I like my things sounding crisp. I like to play around with audio. It's something I really enjoy doing. So to ask you guys to do something that I'm probably going to change anyway would just be rude, I believe. If you heard something that you knew you'd edited and it sounded completely different, you'd be like, "Whoa, what did you do that for?" And I don't want to do that. I don't put you guys in that position. But yeah, I do work on hardness, but that's because I'm passionate about it, and I do believe the Biscuit is worth more than money. I think when we were asking for places for premises or sponsorship or things like that, and people say, "How much do you make?" I say nothing, but we bring people into the town. We can shepherd people to events, and we can give stories about people and add a bit of insight to the town. That's worth more than money, and it's growing as well. It grows every month, so that's what is important. So that's why I do what I do.
As a sort of as a closing point, I suppose. Is one thing that is worth a mention is all of our, but primarily Kaz, which is Al's wife, and is and all of our my girlfriend and all our respective partners. But like they although this, you know, you get an hour of audio a week or whatever, and you listen to that and you know, you enjoy it. What with all the planning and stuff that I mentioned before, that obviously then takes time away from our loved ones, their families and stuff like that. Obviously, I've had to take a literal step back because the podcast does take that much time to run, to schedule, to go to the events, to get the audio, to sit down, have these conversations and stuff. And even though
I think it's very similar to like when you watch a film, isn't it? You watch a film, it might be an hour or two long, but it's months or even years that's taken into just organizing it, getting it all ready. And it's very similar to a podcast. It's like even there's some bits that get cropped out or whatever, but there's still a hell of a lot that goes on behind the scene, all the way up to before it's even recorded, the lead up to it and everything like that. So
I mean, my girlfriend, obviously, whenever we do go to events and stuff, she has to have the baby. She has to, like, you know, obviously I work full time, so obviously then that's more time away that I don't spend with her and that kind of stuff. She's very accepting for that, and that's even more profound when it comes to Kaz with Al, because Al spends so much time working and he grinds on this podcast. He puts his heart and soul into this podcast, and that takes his time away from his family. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it's something he loves, and I'm sure Kaz, you know, wants him to do what he loves, and that's a really beautiful thing. But it's always worth, in how I feel about it anyway. That's always worth a nod of acknowledgement of you know, to thanks to all our respective people,
our podwives and husbands,
podwives,
fellas. Kaz is right now sat in the bedroom twiddling with her phone because she doesn't like. She thinks she's going to be this, and I'm like, you don't have to do that. But she's like, that's fine. I'm chilling in here anyway, and that's what she does for me. And like tomorrow, I'm like, yo, I'm going into town. I'm going to be speaking to Maggie Love. We're recording some audio. She's like, okay, you know, that's trust. And I did used to like, you know, disappear to the coffee shops to edit and things like that, because I like being around people, and you know, sitting here quietly editing, it can be a bit of a draw sometimes. You know, it's a bit of give and take, and I do feel like I take a lot with this. So I do want to say thank you to Kaz and to all of our partners and our significant others, and even our families. Yeah, our families. You know.
Yes, absolutely.
Dee, what was your family's reaction when you were like, yo, I'm going on a podcast? Were they like, oh, no?
To be honest, I think I've mentioned it to half of them. They don't even realise. But like, my mum listens to every single one.
Does she?
She never misses.
Hi, Deedee's mum.
Yeah, she's always there. She puts it on her Google in her kitchen.
Just the ones you're on?
Halfway through this one, huh?
Just the ones you're on, or all of it?
I'm guessing all of them. She definitely listens to the ones I'm on anyway, because then she'll bring up points. I'm like, oh, I can't remember that. So I've always got to be really careful on what I say.
So from now on, I need to be like, hey, Mama Deedee, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Sit down.
I know my friends
pour a glass of wine and relax.
Yeah, all my friends listen.
Yeah.
My friends listen now, but that's Shane's fault, because my best friend Mel, remember that one time we were doing that one live one?
Oh, yeah. Mel, you still need to message me. You still need to message me.
No, Mel, don't message him.
With this dirt that you got on Deedee, because that would be really, really useful. I'm sure that we can we can get you on the show, actually, Al, probably.
It's all right. She knows. No, it's fine. She knows I know where she sleeps. I'll get her. She said the word to you.
Yeah.
We have a voice.
We have a voice. Don't you dare.
We do have a voice, and it gets louder every week. It really does.
Yeah, it does. I think that the rest of this year is going to be pretty, because I think the direction of where this is going, we're coming a lot out of the studio now and going a lot into the big wide world. So
yeah, and the
things that are coming up is going to be very, very interesting. It's very much like a watch this space kind of moment, isn't it? At the moment,
I believe so. I think we can be more than a podcast, and I think actually soon we might have to take the word podcast out of the name, because I feel like we can do so much more. I mean, we can have the Shrewsbury Biscuit on the podcast on the side, but we've started making vlogs and stuff now. We've been asked to present a show for a whole day. We can do so much more.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like the Shrewsbury Biscuit Media Company or anything like that. We'll have to come up with something fun. But
no, but that's what I mean. It's more kind of like the voices that are getting used, not so much our podcasts anymore, isn't it? There's a lot more camera work that's slowly approaching.
If you can call my work
rather than
camera
just the
work.
audio.
I watched.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everyone else.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I was listening to that vlog, watching that vlog back. I watched it loads because obviously I edited it. But there's scenes when I'm spinning around with the camera, and even I'm like, whoa, like I'm feeling a bit like sick of. So yeah, I need to work on that. But yeah, we can transform into so much more. And you know what? Before we sign off from this, and I know I'm not hosting the show today, but I want to say a very heartfelt thank you to you guys. Team Biscuit. I mean, it's taken us a while to get to where we are now. Shane excluded because he's been there pretty much from the beginning. But you guys are we're like a small family now, and you guys mean the world to me. You put up with me at my worst and my best, and I do. Shane's right. 4:00 in the morning, I'd be like, "Oh my god, this audio isn't working," or "Oh my god, look at this cool picture I made," or "Oh my god, I've had a great idea," or "Help, guys!" And you guys are fantastic for steering me in the right way. I mean, sometimes. I mentioned this actually. I mentioned this a while ago that I don't like yes men. I don't like people that are like, yeah, that's great to everything. If I do something and it's bad, you guys will tell me, and that's great. I love that about you guys. I will
anyway.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's ever come on this show. If you have given us a bit of time to come and sit on our show, I love speaking to you people. I love the content that we can create because of what the time that you give us. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone, especially the guys at the beginning. Those first 6 shows felt so special to me. Just to be welcomed in. And I used to have a massive board. Audio board that I used to carry around with me, and that's still in the studio. I've still got that because we might need it for the stage work, but I used to carry that in a big suitcase up and down the cop, and I'd be like, "What, we're doing a podcast?" I'm like, I'd lift out this big massive, and we'd set up this thing. I remember the first time we set up Stop Cafe. They have really small tables in Stop Cafe, and I've got this giant mixer, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're doing a podcast, fixing up tables and lugging this thing in with a wheelbarrow." It was just crazy, but yeah, we've gone places, and it's because people came on our show and put faith in us. So thank you. Sorry, that was really long.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, well.
On that note, I think that's a perfect platform to end on. I think. Have you got anything to say, Dee? Have you?
No. Do you want to remind people of our website before we go?
It is. I wrote it down. Look, I actually did write it down on a post-it note.
Hey.
Well done.
It's. So if you do want to come and find us, you can listen to our audio on the website, or you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and all of the above. Podbean. I can't remember the others. Is there any others, Al?
Loads. Stitcher, Deezer, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. We're on Alexa. You can be like, "Yo, Alexa, play the Shrewsbury."
You can just say to your Alexas or Googles, or even if you go onto Google and type in the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, it'd be the first one that comes up.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can find us at www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that website has been built and run by our beautiful sponsors. I can't even speak anymore. It's that time of night. Our beautiful sponsors, Web Orchard, who they're brilliant. They're awesome. Have a look at the website because it's really, really good. I'm really proud of it personally.
But thank you, Al, for being our guest today.
It's been so
how have you enjoyed it? Was it nerve-wracking? How have you got on?
This is my 4th can of cider. I was genuinely really nervous about this. I was like, because I don't like people might be rolling their eyes now, but I don't like selling myself. I don't like bigging myself up. I don't like talking about myself. So this has taken a lot of mental, I mean, I know we talk about little bits on the show about the past.
Maybe we should do like 5 episodes, like a series of Meet the Biscuits.
This is your life.
Hold on. Shane's only saying this because he wants to have an hour of talking about himself. That's the only reason.
I just want to find more out about Max. I think it'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, I think Max would be a good one. I think he's got some good stories to tell.
I just think it'd be quite cool just to do a little 5-episode spin-off of meet the biscuits. I think it'd be quite
I think
cool.
we could do something that isn't necessarily about the biscuit as well, though. I mean, like, what is your favorite teenage turtle? What was your favorite cartoon? What is your favorite song? I don't know, whatever. Like, we can just do like things so you can get to know people.
Yeah.
Well, to us, I did write down one question that I just thought was entertaining. I put, "Who's your fashion icon?"
Probably Fred Durst with the backwards cap on. That's not meaning to, by the way.
I'm going to say that. What's his bloody name? Oh, what's his name? You have to edit that out. I thought, was it Bill Chrysler?
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer. I thought that would be your fashion icon.
Yeah, every time I come into a podcast, I rip my t-shirt off and let my belly hit the table. I am the machine. Yeah. My fashion icon is I genuinely don't follow fashion. I dress how I feel comfortable. This actually, this backwards baseball cap that's got a lot of meaning as well, because years ago it was like people would look at you weird for wearing a baseball cap, but it's me. It's me, and I don't care.
It is.
I don't care.
That's what I mean. You've got your trademark style. Like with me, I'm a bit all over the place. Like you see me when I come in the studio. Sometimes I'm in jeans and a hoodie, and other times I'm in a shirt and cycling shorts, or high heel boots or trainers. I'm very mixed match. I am. But you're kind of like, you've got your go-tos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hat.
Yeah, your flat cap. Yeah.
My flat cap now has genuinely turned into my hair, because if I take it off, I look weird. Do I not?
Oh God, what is that?
Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly.
That's funny.
So my hat now is my hair. I can't leave the house without it now because I feel weird.
Was it that bowed when you bought it, or do you kind of like bend it into that shape?
No, it's just sort of developed into that shape.
Your hat, as by the way,
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to be friends with a very, very great artist called Eric Pfluger in America, and Shane's hat's been immortalized in an Eric Pfluger original.
Yeah,
I always wanted my own Eric Pfluger original. Excuse me, bourbon. These things cost hundreds of pounds if you want to. But because he's friends of mine, he's like, "Yo, I'll do you something." He drew me, Tom, and Shane dragging the Thor's-kin hammer.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
and he's got his flat cap on. I was like, "Yeah," and I've got my, it was just So that's another another thing that we got to speak to famous people. That's just so cool.
Yeah.
Did you see that then, Shane?
It's been absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Kaz was like that with you. Right then, let's sign us off.
Yeah, thanks guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I literally we've done it well. I've got 12% of battery left, so it's lasted just about enough time.
From now on, this is you, Shane, on the phone, headphones in. This is you from now on. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Well done. It's beautiful. It's beautiful progression.
Okay.
We're gonna have an argument about iPhones and Androids.
I'm not having an iPhone. I'm not doing it.
No, me neither. I'm getting an iPad, but not an iPhone, because the iPad connects with the H6 without having to mess with things. So anyway,
I'm sure we've had this conversation before.
Shane, were you saying something just a second ago? Sorry, I didn't mean to, disturb you.
Anyway, but thank you, Alex, for coming on our show.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Yeah,
I've had a fantastic time. Thank you very much. I'm going to go away from this now, and
if you want to come back on the show, you're welcome anytime, and just drop us an email.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to get to the point where we're actually going to start blackballing Alex and just get him out of the show, and we'll just run it ourselves.
Oh, don't tempt me. We're just going to lock him in a room.
I think that's a perfect idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Right,
Guys, if you've got anything to, if you want to come on the biscuit, or you want to speak to us about ads, if you want to put an ad on our show, get in touch with us. Our email address is
doing it now.
I've had 4 cans of cider.
Shrewsbury
Biscuit Podcast at gmail.com is our email account. Drop us a line. We have got spots for like free adverts in our shows. We want them locally sourced. We want to help people with our show. We know how expensive advertising is, but we ain't that. We're not going to do that. So get in touch, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay then, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Oh,
See ya.
I'll sign us out,
Take it easy.
Shane. This has been the Shrewsbury Biscuit. We love you guys, and peace. Peace out.
Peace out. Yeah.
Shane, you're fired. Peace out.